From AccuWeather.com, this is AccuWeather Daily, a brief host-read article. It's weather news in a nutshell. Well, the unusual lull in Atlantic tropical activity during the climatological peak of hurricane season has come to an end. The seventh tropical depression of the Atlantic hurricane season has strengthened into Tropical Storm Gabrielle and may become a hurricane in the coming days. Direct impacts are possible in Bermuda, while indirect impacts, such as rough surf or rip currents, may affect parts of the northeastern Caribbean and the U.S. The basin had not seen a tropical storm since August 29th, and not since 1992 during the gap between Hurricanes Andrew and Bonnie has there been anything similar. The spread-out tropical storm will continue to battle some dry air near its center on Thursday. Gabrielle is forecast to bring localized flooding, gusty winds, and rough surf to Bermuda from early to the middle part of next week. Periods of heavy rain are forecast to fall across Bermuda as Gabrielle moves by, most likely to the east of the islands. Rainfall totals of 1 to 2 inches are expected with an AccuWeather local storm max of 4 inches. This rainfall can cause some localized flooding in poor drainage areas. Rainfall amounts will be highly dependent on the exact track of the storm. While significant impacts to the U.S. are not expected at this time, rough surf and dangerous rip currents will be possible along the east coast during the middle to late portions of next week, with Gabrielle forecast to track near Bermuda. Gusty winds of 40 to 60 miles per hour with an AccuWeather local storm max of 70 miles per hour are expected across Bermuda from Monday night to next Wednesday due to Gabrielle. Elsewhere in the Atlantic, a tropical wave moving westward off the coast of Africa has a low chance of developing from Friday to Monday. In the U.S.'s neighborhood, a storm that formed near the Atlantic coast over the weekend neared tropical storm strength Monday and Tuesday. The storm, which had tropical depression characteristics, moved onshore in Virginia on Tuesday and then ran out of time to evolve. At midweek, the storm continued to bring rough surf, some coastal flooding, heavy rain, and gusty winds to parts of the mid-Atlantic. Thousands of miles to the south, AccuWeather meteorologists continue to watch the zone from the western Caribbean to the Gulf. While no development is imminent in this area, waters remain very warm in that region, as well as a large part of the Atlantic basin. Tropical development typically requires ocean temperatures of at least 80 degrees. Portions of the Gulf and Caribbean are experiencing water temperatures well into the 80s to near 90. Wind shear is dropping off in some areas, and dry air is less extensive compared to recent weeks and the historic lull in tropical activity over the Atlantic. Development in the Caribbean or Gulf could be spurred on by a tropical wave that fails to form when over the open Atlantic and then encounters more favorable conditions farther to the west. When tropical storms and hurricanes form in the western Caribbean or the Gulf, there is much less preparation time compared to a similar system that forms over the Atlantic and heads toward Central America or the U.S. AccuWeather's hurricane experts are projecting a total of 6 to 9 hurricanes for the season. For a while on Tuesday, folks in the Pacific Northwest were getting a little bit nervous. A plume of volcanic ash over Mount St. Helens gave folks the impression that the volcano might be erupting again. But, luckily, that was not the case, and it was not an eruption, just a wind-whipped encore decades in the making. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, strong easterly gusts swept across the crater and nearby slopes in the southern Washington Cascades, kicking up old deposits of ash from the historic 1980 eruption, often referred to as the Big One, and it flung them thousands of feet into the air. The agency emphasized this is not a sign of renewed volcanic activity. Both the volcano alert level and the aviation color code remain at green, which is the lowest setting, and activity remains at normal background levels. Pockets of that fine, powdery rock still linger today on the volcano's flanks and inside the crater. When conditions line up, dry surfaces, no snow cover, and strong winds, well, the deposits can be lofted again. That's exactly what happened on Tuesday when a very stubborn ridge of high pressure over the Pacific Northwest not only brought record temperatures to Washington and Oregon, where large parts are experiencing a severe drought, but it also set off dry, gusty east winds barreling across Mount St. Helens. The impacts of resuspended volcanic ash are often not hazardous, but visibility can dip, air quality can suffer a bit, and aircraft engines can ingest volcanic grit. Fortunately, the plume should fade once winds die down. That's all for now. You can find more regional forecasts and science-based articles at AccuWeather.com. And for your local forecast at your fingertips, download the AccuWeather app. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe. I'll be back tomorrow with more from AccuWeather.